Okay, I'm going to get ready and show you this project to make sweater candles. Again, a lot of times when people have to put away their Christmas lights, they get a little bit bummed out because, you know, we like the lights. It's getting darker earlier in the evenings, and we just like having the lights. I've been talking about how you can even make garlands, like the garland that I made that's over the mantle in my family room. I did that with a winter theme to it. So actually, I'm going to leave that up even after Christmas. I'll put all my other Christmas things away, but that garland I'm going to leave up. And I showed how to make lighted centerpieces last year. I got this idea to do these sweater candles from Christine over at Pink So Foxy. I've mentioned her channel before. I've been watching her almost since she started her YouTube channel, and I found her actually through Sam Sherman, who I just think is a sweetheart. But anyway, this is a really nice project to do. It's something you could actually leave out all year, but especially in the winter because you're using sweaters. And I will show you exactly all the things you're going to need to do this project. So the first thing you're going to need is either some vases, hurricane jars, mason jars, whatever you want to use. I picked these up over at Walmart. I think they were like $2.97 a piece. You need an old sweater, and if you don't have an old sweater that you want to cut up, you can go to the thrift store like Christine did. Or when I was over at Walmart yesterday, I found this sweater. And I liked it because I liked the earth tone colors. It only cost me $10, so that's not bad. And so you need a sweater, you need a pair of scissors, you need a glue gun. I keep mine over there. You're going to need some candles. These are flameless candles, but you can also use real candles in here. My suggestion would be when you use the candles that you know, you would just put down in there. I just wouldn't get like a regular votive candle or tea light. Well, a tea light candle would be okay because it's like in a cup. It probably isn't going to give that much light. You need more like a votive sort of candle, and this is a votive size. They have votives where they're already in glass, and that would be my recommendation, because if you just put a regular candle down there, you know what's going to happen. After the candle, it's melting, all that wax is going to get in here, and then you're going to have to clean it out. And with the sweater fabric on the outside of the candle, that's probably not going to be something that you're going to want to be getting wet and that sort of thing. Also, if you do get the votive candles, the size that are in the glass, and you put them in there, using real candles, you know, it's like when you burn any kind of a candle, even like a Yankee candle, that you get the soot and everything. You'll get that as, you know, the wick is burning down and the flame gets higher. That's what causes all of that. If you were to get any soot on here, that's an easy clean, because you just need to spray some Windex on a paper towel and just wipe it out pretty basically. But if you had the wax that was all at the bottom that you had to get out, you see what I'm saying, then that's a different story. So I would recommend, if you use real candles, just make sure that you get the votives that are already in the glass. The other things that you're going to need, and you don't have to have this, Christine didn't have it, but I'm going to do it because I like a little bling. So I've got some of these beads. I also got these at Walmart. These I think were $1.97 each, and I'll show you how I'm going to put these around the rim of the glasses. So the first thing we need to do is get started in cutting our sweater. We want to cut off the sleeves of the sweater, and, well, you know, your arm sleeve, and make sure your scissors are very sharp, that you're going to be able to cut through fabric. So what we need to do is to cut the sleeve here, and so we're just going to come over here like where the armpit is and just cut it off. And we're not going to use all this material anyway. Now if you had a bigger hurricane candle, you would need all of that, but we're not going to be using all of this. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to take this and put it over the glass. And you want to bring this to where it comes over the edge, right up to the edge, like that. So we're going to turn this on its side, like this. And you want to pinch about an inch to an inch and a half of the material, and then we want to cut off all this excess. So when you cut it, make sure, you flatten it out, like that. Okay, the next thing is we're going to turn the candle upside down, like this. You want to make sure everything is still at the bottom, tucked nicely. Then we want to take this and we want to pinch, making 4 corners. Pinching, making 4 corners like this. And then what we're going to do, we're going to snip off the top parts. You don't want to come all the way down, but you want to come at least down to, about like right there. We're going to snip off the excess material here. And then we're going to go then and do the same thing on the opposite sides going this way. So when you cut it off, you should have something similar to this. You should have like some triangles. And what we're going to do is get the glue gun and start gluing down each of these triangles. So just take your glue gun, put some glue on there like that. And then we're going to take this and just press it down like so. And then I'm going to do that with all of the sides here. And when you're finished, it should be like this. You want this to be as flat as possible. Now, you'll have to maybe trim a little bit more excess. I had to, and that's okay. You just want to make sure as you're gluing, you're getting everything to lay flat and even. So when we turn this and stand it up, then it's standing like that. Now, if you wanted to be able to pull this down, like if you had a real candle in there, I mean, you can pull this down if you want to, but I'm going to glue this because I don't want my sweater moving. So I'm going to glue around here and have the sweater attach itself to the glass. How I'm going to do this, I'm just going to pull the sweater away a little bit at a time here, put some glue, get the sweater back up, and then continue coming around it. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and work my beads around here, just gluing them on with the glue gun. And this one strand of beads is one long piece. So I'm going to start here and then just, come around, gluing it around. Okay, so I glued my first piece on, and it's better to put, because you're using hot glue, it's better to put the glue on to the sweater material itself, then take this and press it. And I gave it a minute or so to cool off and to attach itself. And then I'm going to start, I'm not going to glue every single bead. I'll probably go about like every other bead until I get all the way around. Okay, as I get to the end right here, I have this end bead. I've got to cut off, you see this right here, I'm going to cut that fishing line off. I'm going to get this last bead in place here. I'm going to glue it down. What I did, the last couple beads, I made sure I put some glue. I'm going to glue this one, and then this one, instead of cutting this bead off, I just thought I would glue it down here, and because this will be probably the front of the candle. Now before I snip away this here, because we don't want all of this beading is attached on this one string. You see the hole where the string is coming through. So what I'm going to do is put a little bit of glue in there, and that's going to hold all of this in place so the beads wouldn't come unstrand. Okay, guys, there's Christine, and this is her video, and I will put the link in the show more of how she did her candles and what they look like. But it's daylight, but I turned the kitchen lights out, obviously, so that you can see. So obviously, as the house gets darker towards the evening, it's going to look a bit different. Now this, actually, I can turn this way, because I'm going to tell you what I did with, maybe that. No, that's right. Because I will tell you what I did with this one here in a second. So turn that to the side like that. Okay, so this is a real flame in there. And here's Christine, she's doing hers. And then these are the two flameless candles. And so that's them. That's how they turned out. Now, on this one, let me get my light back on and I'll tell you what I did. This candle here is a Yankee candle. Now, my recommendation would be if you use the Yankee candle jar. The reason why I had to turn this because I realized I didn't take the sticker off of the front, you know, telling what scent it is, but that's okay because you can still turn it, so you can even make that the back if you want. But I decided to cover, I had an extra sleeve because I used the neck part of the sweater. I used that on here so that I can get the lighter shade. This is the darker shade. I had to work with this a little bit more, but and had to do a little bit more gluing, but I mean, obviously, you know, it can be done. And then I just put beads around there and around there. But I like having my little candle shades. And I have them on my Yankee candles. I have them for the different seasons too. So that's why I decided to cover the Yankee candle because, see, you have the lip that you can put this on there like that. So what I'll end up doing after this completely burns down, obviously I'm going to have to, you know, work kind of carefully to use a lot of hot water and get that glue out without trying to get this too wet. And I mean, if it gets wet, obviously it'll dry and it'll dry fine. And then I can continue to put either a flameless candle or I can get the votives that's in the glass that I've been telling you about and put that in there. So anyway, that's what this looks like. And I will show you this again with the lights out. So if you're interested in making those sweater candles, that's a nice idea. The different texture, like when you see Christine's, she used a different texture of sweater, but it just makes it nice and cozy for the winter because you're using, you know, sweaters. And I liked how Christine did hers and the type of sweater she looks, because it does look very winterish. One of the reasons why I chose the sweater that I did was to not only get the neutral colors, but it wasn't so winterish looking that, you know, something like this, I could actually leave this out all year round because it kind of looks like wicker, doesn't it? So, you know, it's just what you want to do. So I hope you guys try it. As soon as I saw that video, I just saw it the first time Christine put it out and I said, I'm doing that. So anyway, and if you haven't subscribed to Christine, she's pink, so foxy. I'll have a link in the show more. You need to subscribe to her channel because she does a lot of crafty things. Her and her husband travel all the time. They live in Hawaii and she does vlogging as well. So anyway, and she's so sweet. So just go over there. Tell her I sent you. I don't know if she really knows who I am. I mean, I'm subscribed to her and I've been subscribed to her, but just, you know, tell her I said, hey, and that I sent you over there. Now we're going to move on to wrapping gifts. Okay, on to wrapping. Most of the time I do my Christmas shopping way in advance if I can possibly help it. Sometimes I'm Christmas shopping in October or September. There are times that I've done it where it's in November. And if I do it in November, because I always wrap early December, I pretty basically remember things that I have bought. So I know, like, if I'm going to use gift bags, what kind of gift bags I need. If things are in boxes or I need boxes, what I need to get. But when you Christmas shop early, like I did this year, I did my Christmas shopping in September. And when you go and you tuck it away in a closet, you kind of forget everything that you bought. So what I do when I shop early is I go through all of my Christmas gifts. I bring everything into my bedroom and I lay everything out on my beds in piles of, you know, whose items they are. And then I go through every pile and I get a sheet of paper and a pen and I just write down, I'm going to need a shirt box. I need an extra large shirt box. I need a box for a jacket, you know, that kind of thing. And so then when I go to the store, I have that sheet of paper, and I immediately put it in my purse so I don't forget it. Then I get to the store, and then I can go through that, and I can gear up on, you know, exactly what I need. The other thing is too, when using ribbons and stuff, I stopped using the old-fashioned Christmas ribbon that, you know, back in the day is what we used. And they still sell it now, but I don't use that. It's not very pretty looking. It's hard to work with. I like ribbons that have the wires, and they're even making them now where they're thinner, so that you can use them for packages. So try looking for that, because the ribbon that has the wire is easier to work with, and you can also create bows instead of just using the slip-on plastic bows. Now I do get some of these bows, and I keep these on hand. Those are nice for smaller packages. It's also nice in case if you ran out of ribbon and you wanted to, you know, have some bows, you know, you can work with those. So just gear up in your mind how many gifts you're going to have to wrap, so that you know how much wrapping paper, how much ribbon, and that sort of thing that you're going to need. The other thing is you can always work with things that you already have. For example, if you've changed ribbon on your Christmas tree this year, but you still have the ribbon that you had last year, or maybe you changed the ribbon on your tree last year, but what you had previous, you still have it. You know what I'm saying? And if you're not going to use those ribbons anymore, pull them out, because they have the wire on it more than likely, and you can use those. Another thing is, see, like this is a pre-made bow. This bow, I have had this for the longest time, but it's still in really good condition, and it's a nice big bow, as you can see. And I have a couple boxes that they're jackets, actually, and so a nice big bow like this. And if I don't have to, because to make a big bow like this, you're going to use about a spool of ribbon just for one bow. So if I can save myself the work of making a bow and save on ribbon, then I will use something that I already have. You see what I'm saying? I have some of these beads. I'm not going to use those for anything. I can use those on packages as well. I buy some picks. If you have leftover ornaments and things like that, you can always use those as well. So I've got some green tulle. I'll probably use that. This is an example of some extra ribbon that I had on my foyer tree. So I've got some blue wrapping paper, so this is going to work well. Then there's this bow, this. I bought these little ornaments. These are extra ornaments that I had from earlier in the season where you saw me make my wreath, and I used these. These were extra. I bought these picks. I have that. You want to make sure that you have plenty of gift tags. Always look to see how many tags are in, you know, a set, so that you have enough. Here's the ribbons I'm going to work with, and then of course all the different size boxes. So I have all of that. Obviously you're going to need some scissors. It's always good to have sharp scissors if possible. You don't want it catching and then tearing your paper. And then of course you need tape. I don't buy double-sided tape, first of all because the double-sidedness for the bottom, so you don't see tape, most likely people aren't even seeing the back of the package anyway, the bottom of it, you know what I'm saying? So to me, it's not even, it's pointless for me to do that. Then when I'm working with the front of my like ribbons and stuff, I don't really use a lot of tape with my ribbon, because if you have the wired ribbon you don't have to. Back in the day, that other ribbon you had to. But if I do need to have tape where it's double-sided, I just do it the old-fashioned way. I just take a piece of tape and take it, loop it around and connect it, and then you have double-sided tape. So I don't buy double-sided tape. I mean, if that's what you want to use, that's fine. I just use regular tape. So I got to go get my tape and get my scissors, and then I've got lots and lots and lots of packages to wrap. One other little hint: if you needed deeper boxes, you know, not your regular shirt boxes, And you can get them where they're decorative like this. This even has all the glitter on and everything. This actually saves you in wrapping. Now, you could wrap those certainly if you wanted to, but that's the point of making them already nice, that you don't have to wrap. And when I use these boxes, I'm not going to wrap. I'm just going to put the ribbon around it and just make it really nice with the ribbon. But if you can find the decorative boxes versus just, plain boxes, try to spend an extra $1.50 or $2, whatever it is, and it'll just save you a little bit of time there. Also, I found these. They're toy boxes, and they look like this, and there's 2 of them in here. And they gave the dimensions. One box is 11.8 inches by 7.1 by 15.16, and then the other one's just slightly smaller. And they even have little strapped handles on them. So if you had like a stuffed animal, or if you just had something that was odd shaped. For example, my daughter wanted this pair of ankle boots from Ross. And when you go to Ross, you don't get shoe boxes as if you went to like a shoe store. So I don't have a box for those shoes. And they're very high heeled as well. So I needed to make sure that I had an appropriate box. A box like this probably would have worked, because this is like a big shoe box. It's pretty big. But I thought that I would get this instead, because with the high heels and with the higher clothes on the top there, I just thought that that would work. And again, because it's decorative, I don't have to worry about putting wrapping paper on that. I will just, jazz it up with some bows and some other little ornaments and that kind of thing. So I just want to pass that tip along to you as well. Okay, I only have 3 packages wrapped so far. This is the one that I told you I was going to put for my daughter. I haven't dressed that one up yet. I'm waiting till last to see what I have left over. But see, this is the other box that I was just telling you that you don't need to wrap. You just need to get some ribbon on there. This is another package that I did. And so that I'm not using all of my ribbon to make big fluffy bows, that's why I say for a package of this size, you could just do a little bow like this and put that on, and then I have the tag. And so those are the 3 that I have so far, and I have many, many more to go. So I thought I would bring you over here and show you how I do this. Now, this particular paper doesn't have lines. The last paper that I used, it has the lines on here. See? And so it helps you in, cutting. Okay, the other thing is too, like you could see over there my let it snow, let it snow. I have it so you can see that straight in the front. Okay, this has snowmen, Christmas trees, Santa Claus on there. Okay, if I turned the box this way, you're going to get all these things kind of going that way. So if I want to have everything uniform this way like this, then I need to turn my box. Now, when wrapping, especially, you can judge, from the height of your box how much excess you need. So obviously this is too far back. When you bring your paper up, you want your paper to come about, 2/3 of the way up here. So I could probably even slide this down just a little bit more. And then we bring this over, and I bring mine where it comes more than halfway over the box, about 3/4 of the way. So that when I bring this paper over, I want to come about 2 to 3 inches over. And the reason why is because I like clean lines, and I'm going to be folding this, so I'll show you. So I need to bring this, let's see. I usually crease it with my finger right there where there's a crease. And then when I put my camera down, obviously, I'll be able to, well, I can do it like that. Just, I put a little crease there so that I can come over here and then cut my line up. Okay, so when we're looking at this, like this here, okay, and then we're looking at all of that over there, what we need to do is the same thing. We need to bring our paper up, and we need to bring it about 2/3 of the way up on the other side of the box, and then cut the excess off. And don't ever throw your little bits of paper away like that. Because if you get a small package where you need to wrap, I mean, who hates getting like a smaller package that you have to wrap, and you've got to work with all the big sheets of the wrapping paper, and it is an annoyance in having to, you know, cut to get just the right size. So I always save my excess wrapping paper, and I wrap all of my smaller packages usually last. And so then I have the wrapping paper like that I can use. So we're going to go ahead and swing this over. I make sure everything's nice and tight, and then I'm going to get some tape, and I will put some tape down. Okay, so I've secured it. Sometimes I just secure it with one piece, but when it gets a little bit bigger of a box, I'll try to do two. Then we have this. This is where we cut. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to fold this over. So you have a nice little clean line, and then when you bring this over like that, then we can secure that with tape, and you have a nice clean line there. Okay, so when we have this here, we're going to fold in like that and make a crease, and come here and make a crease, and do the same thing on the other side. So when you go to push this down, so your paper should come to the very end there, and you want to make sure you get all the air out too. But you see this here? I'm going to take this, I'm going to fold it over. So when it's folded over like that, and you bring it around like that, we got to get tape. And on something like this is where a person might want to use double-sided tape, so you put it on the inside and stick it there, but you know, that doesn't bother me. So I'm just taping it like that. We're going to repeat the same thing on this side. Second. Okay, so when you've done that and you still got your bottom side up here, by the time that you flip your package around, see, then you've got a nice, pretty, clean edge like that. And then we've got to get some ribbon on. Using something like this for this size package is a little bit too wide. So I will probably, I had some green somewhere. If I can find my green. Oh, and I have this one too. I'll use my green. So there's a lot of red in this paper. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the green. So what I did was, on this one, I didn't do the ribbon, you know, 4 ways around. I just did it just the one like this. And I've showed you guys many times now how I've made like my little bows for the Christmas tree. I'm not making like regular full-size bows, because when you do, you can use actually, if not a whole spool of ribbon, almost a whole spool of ribbon. And when you have a lot of packages to wrap, you know, you don't want to do it. So you could just do like, you know, how I've done for like the Christmas trees, and have your excess ribbon hanging over. So I put an ornament there, and this is the little tag. This is for my daughter Carly. And so this is her gift. Well, this is one of her gifts, I should say. So like that. And when you're going to do the ribbon where you have it where it goes 4 ways around like that. I think most of us already know pretty much how to do that. But anyway, when you do ribbon like that, you also use a lot. So sometimes just bringing the ribbon around once and just making it look nice on top, again, you'll save on ribbon. So that is my video on, you know, some wrapping techniques. Most of us know how to wrap gifts. There's lots of videos out there. Rebecca Robeson from Robeson Design, just type in how to make bows, how to make Christmas bows, how to wrap a gift, and her videos will all come up. And obviously I didn't learn any of this from Rebecca. I've been wrapping my gifts like this for almost my whole married life. So, but that's why I say I think most of us know how to wrap Christmas gifts. But I just thought I'd just share a few little tips on what I do. And like I say, recycle some of your old Christmas tree ornaments and ribbons and things like that. And happy wrapping to you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.